Hello, I'm Kira Scribner, and if you're new, this is a weird place to start, but I'm going to be talking about suicide and grief today. If that's something that you can't listen to, that's okay. I won't be going into graphic detail, but more trying to talk about my own experience with it and also hopefully encourage you as well. And this week, I found out that one of my old family friends died by suicide. It is the third death to suicide that someone in my life has died to in the last year and a half, and even though I was not particularly close to all of these people, I felt so emotionally thing. The first two I stopped. This one I went quiet. I could not speak. The sound of my chewing noise triggered me. The sounds of doorknobs or anything felt like crashing. And I think it's because I went into reflection. This was a person I'd grown up with, but she's about 8 years older than me, so I was never particularly close with her, but she was close with my siblings, and I was close with her younger siblings. Someone I always looked up to and inspired me, even though they were not a person that I saw regularly anymore. And it shook me. It shook me to the core because I think that so often we think that we exist in a bubble. We're worried that we could just disappear, like that Dear Evan Hansen song, that our life is just a mist and that we will disappear and no one cares about us. But I care so deeply. I care so deeply that I was shell shocked to the point where I could not speak. I couldn't, I breathed too loudly and it shook me. And I don't want to make it all about me, obviously. I know the family is experiencing things that I can't understand. But I do want to say that even amidst the hope that in the grief that I can't go back to, it gave me hope because it reminded me how close we are. I can't go back and erase her death. If I could, I would. But going forward, I can remember that I am shook by the death of someone who is no longer a part of my everyday life, which means that she impacts me even though I've never said that. And I impact people. And I keep a lot of pretty little things in my head that I don't say because I'm embarrassed about thinking too passionately about people. I'm insecure about reaching out to people because I am so afraid of being too much. I also had experience. I had a friend that I met at a competition 6 years ago, and I thought she was really cool. She was really intelligent, really beautiful, had wonderful style, was a poet, and I just thought that she was so friggin' awesome. And then I moved to the same town as her for college, and I thought about reaching out to her, but I was like, well, we kind of only interacted a few times. She's not going to want to be my friend. She's way cooler than me. All of these things. So I never sent a message or anything. Like, I never even told her. I kind of hoped that she'd figure out that I lived in her town and might take mercy on me, but no. 5 years passed, and 2 weeks ago, she sent me a message and was like, hey, I don't want to sound desperate, but I think you're in the KW area and I want to be your friend. I don't have a lot of friends, and I think we have a lot in common. And my heart exploded. This is a person that I had wanted to be friends with so much because I like admired her and looked up to her. And she 5 years later was like, hey, let's be friends. And she took that brave move to be like, I'm gonna put it on the line. I need friends. And I was like, yes, of course I want to be your friend. Like, you're someone I was like, you're so cool. And what would have happened if I had 5 years ago actually sent a message, had have actually reached out? Obviously, I'm a different person than I was then, but that's the thing. We impact people and people think good things about us. But so often we live alone because we think we live by our shame and our insecurity. And every person that I've known who's died by suicide, I'm always question I could have done something as a mental health professional. But I can live in the regret that I didn't do anything, or I can live forward choosing to say, I'm not going to do that. I can't be friends with every individual, but I can stop hiding in my shame. When I see good things in the world, when I admire people, I can speak it. Even though I'm worried that it's going to be too much, even though I'm worried that they won't care or they won't reciprocate or they'll think that I'm just weird. what does it take to take a world where we actually say those things, where it's not 5 years before we actually reach out, because we're worried that if we ask, people will think we're weird, or they'll just say yes because they pity you. And I'm still dealing with my own grief over this situation, and I think I will be. I think it will hit me for a long time. Someone you've known since you were 8 years old, or maybe even younger, it will hit you when they die. Because I will think back on every childhood memory which they include, which isn't a lot of them, and think about the fact that they had such a limited time left, even though we thought we had the rest of our lives till we were 80. But I am heartbroken, and I think I will continue to cry and think about the world. But what I think I've learned from this experience is that I need to stop being chained by shame and be chained by insecurity. Because our words have the power to speak life. I really, really believe that. I think, although I never want to say, I don't believe that we need to hold responsibility for people's deaths. I don't think that that's something that is healthy. But I do think that by speaking life, we can save someone's life. That is when you think good things, when you think encouraging things, when you want to go out to coffee when it's not COVID and see someone, do that. And I know one of your first things probably was to be like, I'm so sorry you lost someone. Thank you. Or I don't know if thank you is the right words, but I don't need that. I have a really good support system in my life that I was able to talk to you about it, and I'm able to come on. But please take that compassion and reach out to the people in your lives that need you. Even when it's uncomfortable. Even when you think you're too much, because people probably have a really high opinion of you and you just don't know. Like, I honestly think that most people do. Like, I have a disability, which means I have chronic pain and I often can't walk, and which means I can't eat a lot. And I've spent so many days bedridden, unable to move for days upon days upon days, and I haven't reached out because I'm embarrassed to not be independent. And again, 2 weeks ago, I reached out to a longtime friend who had once mentioned that she would cook for me. And I was like, it's really okay, but like, can you do this? And she said yes. And the weight off my shoulders left because I didn't have to do it alone. If I had asked her a year ago, she probably would have. But I waited every day because I was too worried about being not independent, being needy, than actually putting what I needed. So if you need help, whether physical, emotional, spiritual, reach out, please. The asking is the scariest thing. More often than not, people are compassionate. I believe that there is good and that people understand. And even if you're hurt, that does not mean that one person's bad reaction is going to be everyone's. I'm not perfect, but I am trained in mental health and suicide. So if you feel like you can't reach out to someone, my IMs are always opened. You can find me on Instagram or Twitter or messages if you want to comment publicly. I want to always say that it's not the easiest person to help someone over line versus in person, but that's what we have right now. And if that takes your first step, I will talk to you, because I think mental health is really important and it's a worthwhile time. Like, your life is important. It is worth other people's time. And yeah, I'm going to be dealing with this grief for a really long time, but I want this to happen less. I want people to not feel like their emotions are too much, that they can't reach out, that they are alone, that they would just disappear. Because I am impacted by every person I have ever met. And even if that person is no longer there, you can still reach out. Because I think people are more receptive than we would think. And I'm probably repeating a lot of the words again and again, but all I want to say is please do not hesitate to reach out to other people and do not hesitate to reach out for yourself. I don't know how to end this well, but I will see you in another video sometime.